Hey up everyone, hope you're all doing well. We now know that John Cena's final opponents will be determined by a 16-man tournament. So I thought it would be a great idea if I list 10 wrestlers who could potentially be the final opponent for John Cena and give a percentage on whether I think they will actually become that opponent or not. And we're starting off strong with a prospect as we're starting off with Carmelo Hayes. Now in all fairness guys, Carmelo Hayes, he's got a bright future ahead of him, but how he's been booked for the last year, you wouldn't fucking think so. Now if this was fresh off of NXT where he was that main guy, he was him, then maybe I would give a higher percentage to Carmelo Hayes. I know it's been a bit different recently. He's got a baby face and he's getting a bit more momentum. It's looking like, you know, he's going to start getting booked a bit better in the future, but just how it's been this last year, I don't have much confidence that Carmelo Hayes is going to be the final opponent of John Cena. So I'm going to say there's about a 15% chance that Carmelo Hayes is the final opponent for John Cena. And next up, we have a former rival opponent of John Cena, someone who's been rumored heavily to come back to the WWE very, very soon, and I'm talking about Y2J, Chris Jericho. Now, what are the odds that Chris Jericho comes back and becomes the final opponent for John Cena? I'm going to say, boys, it's about 5%, almost no chance whatsoever. If you just listen a second, Y2J, I don't think he's coming back to the WWE until the Royal Rumble, I'll be completely honest, and let's say he does show up in this tournament, that would be amazing, right? Do you think he would actually win the tournament? I don't really think so. I don't think that Y2J would go on to win this tournament when he's a pensioner and hasn't been booked massively in a very long time. So I don't think Y2J is going to be the final opponent of John Cena. It would have been cool to see, but I strongly just don't see that happening. Now, the next wrestler I'm about to start talking about is arguably the favorite to be John Cena's final opponent, and I'm talking about a returning Gunther. The last time we saw Gunther, he lost to CM Punk at SummerSlam for his World Heavyweight title match, and now there's a lot of speculation that Gunther is going to be the final one to take on John Cena. So the chances of this, I'm going to put it at like an 80-85% chance for Gunther to be the final opponent of John Cena. Now, I am a bit against this. I think Gunther's great, but I just don't think he needs this. I feel like you could build a lot of hype and momentum off of this. I just don't think Gunther needs that. He's got that aura about him. He's well established. He had that iconic IC title reign. He's been a World Heavyweight Champion twice now. He retired Goldberg. The only reason I would like it if Gunther were to be the last opponent for John Cena is maybe if we do this narrative like, oh, Gunther retired Goldberg, he wants to retire John Cena. In the future, he's going to retire Brock Lesnar, and he just retires all these legends. Then if you go down that route, okay, I'm fairly sold. But for me, I think it should be someone who's fairly young and needs to be established on the main roster and become a top star. And I already think Gunther is all of that. I think he's a top star and he's most definitely well established. So I don't think he needs this last match against John Cena. Okay, now next up, we've got another wrestler who's been rumored to be a part of John Cena's retirement tour. Maybe not the last match, but he has been rumored to be a part of it. And I'm talking about the IC champion, Dominic Mysterio. Now, could Dominic Mysterio, you know, a lot of these rumors are suggesting it's going to be at Survivor Series, but maybe if the rumors are false or just simply not correct, maybe he is the final opponent of John Cena for the IC champion. That would be pretty sick in my opinion. I would say the chances like 70% to 75% that Dominic Mysterio will be the last opponent of John Cena. I feel like Dominic Mysterio ticks those boxes a lot more than Gunther does, because Dominic Mysterio, although he's well established, he's still very young and he's still not a top star. He's not a main event guy like Gunther has proven to be with his two-time World Heavyweight title reign. So I feel like this will benefit Dominic Mysterio a lot. He's a massive heel right now as well. And I just feel like his attitude would be the best one to say, hey, listen guys, I retired John Cena. I think that would be brilliant. I'm the one who prevented John Cena from becoming a Grand Slam champion. I didn't let him beat me for my IC title. I think that would be brilliant work for Dominic Mysterio. So for me, Dominic Mysterio winning it would make a lot of sense. I think it would be a great one. I still think Gunther has a higher possibility of being a final champion, just going off rumors. But Dominic Mysterio is a great shout in my opinion. Okay, so for the next wrestler, you simply just have to say his name, and he appears. Of course, I'm talking about Joe Hendry. Joe Hendry, what are the chances that he could be the final opponent for John Cena? Zero. There's fucking no hope. I'm sorry, Joe. I like you a lot, mate. You're brilliant, but there's just no chance that Joe Hendry will be the last opponent for John Cena. I do think he'll be involved in the tournament. I think he'll be a part of it. Do I think he even wins a match? Not really. Just why would he? You know, he's not even a part of the WWE. He's a part of TNA. I know he's well affiliated with the WWE. He's WrestleMania, Randy Orton, all that. Brilliant. But is he going to be the one to be the last one in there, John Cena? No, and I think we all know that. Okay, so this next wrestler, in my opinion, should be the one to be the last opponent for John Cena. Now, I'm not saying that he will be the one, but this is my personal pick. I'm talking about Femi. Of course, he was very, very dominant in NXT with the North American Championship and the NXT title itself. He went on some great reigns. He's got the look. He's super young. He puts on banger matches, and he hasn't touched that main roster yet. What better way to debut someone to the main roster than going through everyone in this new tournament, some great names in the tournament, and also being the one to retire John Cena? That is the best way to pass the torch, in my opinion. Someone who's not established on the main event yet, or anything like that on the main roster, sorry. Nowhere near the main event picture, but straight away he gets a fast track because he beat John Cena, and you put Femi straight up there. I think that's the perfect way to do this. A proper passing of the torch moment. He's got everything, in my opinion. He's got time on his side. He's very young. He's got the look, great physique, everything. He's good on the mic. He looks very scary and dominant. I think this will be brilliant for Femi. Now, Femi may have to become a heel for this, but I'm okay with that because, again, I think he could really tap into it. Even if he does it as like a babyface, so he'd be like, hey, I was the one to put away John Cena and all that. I think he could do it in a babyface sort of way. But yeah, Femi, I would have to give him like a 50% chance because I think it's 50% only because I think it's a great option if the WWE are willing to be risky and pull the trigger on something like that. Sometimes they are, sometimes they're not. Sometimes they're daring and sometimes they're simply not. If they are daring, I think there's a good possibility that Femi is the one. But if they're not feeling that daring and feeling a bit safe, yeah, I don't think Femi gets a chance. So I'm going to say Femi a 50% chance. Okay, so this next wrestler, pretty much every wrestling fan wants to see this person be the last opponent for John Cena. I think we all know who we're talking about. A rated R superstar, Edge. Now, do I think he'll be the final opponent for John Cena? What do I think the chances are? I think it's a big 0. I think there's 0% chance that Edge is the final opponent for John Cena. Guys, he's still contracted with AEW. The relationship between AEW and WWE there's nothing there, really. I couldn't see AEW be like, you know what? One of our biggest stars, an icon. Yeah, let's just give him over to you for this one big thing. I couldn't see that happening. I know he's gone away, and that's why people think it's going to be Edge, because he's gone away for a bit. He's gone away from AEW for a bit. I'm pretty certain that's to do with him and scheduling for acting, not anything to do with coming back to WWE or leaving AEW. So yeah, I don't think it'll be Edge. It would have been a cool send-off to see Edge a part of this retirement run, but he left to go AEW, so that's just how it is, unfortunately. And now we move on to someone who's still throwing it back and has banger after banger after banger. Of course, I am talking about Sheamus now. Sheamus, I think, is like a solid 30% chance because Sheamus, in my opinion, he's always putting on great matches. Try and name a bad Sheamus match in the last 10 years. You can't. He's great on the mic. He's had history with John Cena as well. I think this would be brilliant. I wouldn't mind this. And if the rumors are true that John Cena is going to beat Dominic Mysterio for the IC title at Survivor Series and then defend it at Saturday night's main event, Sheamus would be perfect for it because that means it's one Grand Slam and John Cena potentially passing over to another Grand Slam champion in Sheamus. So it would make a lot of sense in my opinion. It would be a brilliant match. It will be a nostalgic throwback one as well. I just don't personally see it happening, but I do think there's a solid chance there. But I just don't see it happening. So I'm going to go with a 30% chance for Sheamus. And we are not leaving this nostalgia trip because the next person is The Miz. And he is pretty awesome. Now, could he be the last opponent for John Cena? No, I'm going to give it like a 5% chance that it's The Miz. I don't think the WWE are that bothered about The Miz, you know, like, not in a nasty way, by the way. You know, you need people like The Miz in the business. I just don't think he's at that level anymore to really be the one to people to petition for The Miz to be the final opponent of John Cena. Maybe on one of the Raws. That would be pretty cool on his last ever Raw. I wouldn't mind that. But for his final ever opponent, I just don't think so. I think it needs to be a passing the torch moment. I don't think it needs to be The Miz. For me, I wouldn't mind it, but also I would be like, oh, we could have done better, you know what I mean? There's better options there. So I wouldn't mind a match between the two. I just don't see it going down that route. Nothing's happened with The Miz, what's significant in about, 4 or 5 years? So I just don't see it being The Miz being the final opponent of John Cena. And now we get to the last prediction by me. I'm talking about another younger guy, but who's kind of in the main event scene. I'm talking about Bron Breakker. Now, of course, this guy came through NXT and just started speed running the main roster, would become the IC champion. And now he's looking on track to become the World Heavyweight champion within the next few months. But if you want to keep that title on CM Punk for a little bit longer, in my opinion, I say let Bron Breakker go for John Cena. It's very clear that Bron Breakker is going to be the future of WWE. You got Paul Heyman reminding you every fucking weekend. I think it's very evident that Bron Breakker is going to be that guy. He's currently a heel. Having go and be the last opponent for John Cena is very believable. It would help Bron Breakker even more. Does he need it as much as someone like Dominic Mysterio or Obafemi or Carmelo Hayes? Not necessarily, because again, he's well established. But again, he is super young, and they keep on referring to him as the future of the WWE. What better way than to have the future of the WWE to take out the person who was the future of the WWE in John Cena? So I think it makes a lot of sense. You know, it makes Bron Breakker an even more serious threat. I think Bron Breakker having a chance of this is about the same as Dom, 70 to 75. Mainly because I just don't think the WWE will go down that route. I think we're going to just keep him and Bronson Reed, you know, together. Maybe go for a tag titles, or I don't know what they're going to do, but I just don't think they have their vision. Get the pun there. I don't think they have their vision set on John Cena, I'll be completely honest, but I think it would be a cool thing to do, and I think it would benefit for Bron Breakker to win something like this. But that's it from me, guys. Those are 10 wrestlers and their chances of becoming the final opponent for John Cena. Let me know in the comments who you want to see John Cena verse in his final ever match. Let me know who do you think has the best possibility. Let me know in the comments, and if you've enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.